Hi everyone, Keelan here from Warner Brothers Studio Tour Hollywood, and welcome to another stop on our virtual tour. Today I am so excited because we're going to be showing you Hennesy Street. Now, Hennesy Street was named after the famed production designer Dale Hennesy from the movie Annie, but let me pass it off to John for your inside look.
My friends, welcome to Hennesy Street. Originally constructed back in the 1930s, the first movie that we ever had here was called Frisco Kid with James Cagney. That's a really important part of Warner Brothers history, but also film history in general. In the 1930s, studios were all trying to figure out who they were, what their voice was, what were they really trying to get at. So you had all studios doing different genres, and the Warner Brothers wanted to focus on the gangster genre of film because they thought it was socially conscious. They thought it was their job as filmmakers to tell stories that people were afraid to tell. The Warner Brothers themselves were Jewish Polish immigrants, so they thought it was important to really push the envelope. So this street is where we would make movies like The Maltese Falcon, Angels with Dirty Faces, Public Enemy, The Big Sleep, The Roaring Twenties, Little Caesar. It all happened right here. Just imagine black and white, Tommy guns, shooting these buildings and explosions. This is really where the gangster genre was born. Now the street itself, Hennesy Street, it gets its name from the film Annie. The production designer Dale Hennesy helped design this entire street. All of the balconies, the fire escapes that you see, those were brought in from New York to really transform the street and make it look more Depression era. And what you just saw, that's Miss Hannigan's orphanage. Carol Burnett played Miss Hannigan in that film. In the 90s, this would have been Gotham City. For Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin, they transformed this street into Gotham. And how do you do that? You film it at night because it needs to be very dark. You need to, of course, cover the streets in water because it all needs to be damp and dark. And then you'll use what are called plantons. They are temporary facades that you put over the face of an existing facade. You transform sets immediately with a planton. Now behind me, this is where we are also getting into some great examples of open lot policy. You're looking at Tenement Alley. Why is it called Tenement Alley? It looks like a New York tenement. There are just stacks and stacks of apartments. Now, some of the things that we have already mentioned. Annie. This is where the orphans come out and sing It's a Hard Knock Life. This is also, if you like movie musicals, Rent. They do the song I Should Tell You in the Snow right here. And a very, very young Christian Bale was in the movie Newsies. And they came out and do parts of the song Santa Fe right here on this fire escape. Now, before I get to my really cool example, I'm going to also need your imagination for a moment. Imagine this red door open. And imagine Apollonia standing in the doorway, and I'm Prince on a motorcycle, and you are looking at the cover of Purple Rain. Amazing. Now, the example that I also wanted to bring you in here for, open lot policy, right? You don't have to be Warner Brothers to film at Warner Brothers. Probably the best example of that right here is the early 2000s Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. This is where we did the upside down kiss between Spider-Man and Mary Jane, Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst. The upside down kiss takes place right here. And if you remember in that scene, it's raining, right? But as we've been talking about, rain's kind of difficult to do here in LA. You have to create it. And in order for it to show up on camera, it's gotta be huge. So imagine this, you're Tobey Maguire hanging upside down with these gigantic water drops going right up your nose. That's not a really fun way to do the most romantic kiss of all time. So somebody had the genius idea of essentially sealing his nose with cotton balls and Vaseline. Here's the problem, once you do that, he starts to sound like this. That's not really a superhero voice. It's very different than Batman, you know? I'm Batman. Very different. So, what you have to do in that case is something called ADR. It's automated dialogue replacement. And that's why Spider-Man sounds normal in the movie, even though he really sounds like this. We are now at the Banks Hotel and Casino for Ocean's 13. I know. You'd never guess, because when you look around, it's all different brick patterns, it's different textures. So in that case, we have to use one of those plantons that we talked about. So you get one big continuous face, put it over the front of these buildings to make it look like a casino. This big circle here would have been the valet roundabout. You'd get dropped off, and then we would walk right up this way into the lobby of the casino. Follow me. Now, obviously, you might think in your head, why not just go to Las Vegas? Because if we're going to do that, what we have to do is rent out a casino, and that's a lot. It's cheaper to build Vegas than it is to film in Vegas. This is what the actual inside of the casino looks like. Welcome to the inside of a facade. I think this is really cool because, in my opinion, this is real behind the scenes. This is real Hollywood. So what you see, the interior of 3 facades. We have Hennesy Street, we have Tenement Alley, and then we have the casino set, or what it's really called, Park Place. And now you're on the interior. You look around, and it's all wood. It's all the scaffolding holding up the faces. Because most filming isn't going to happen here. It's going to happen inside of soundstages where you have more control. There's one thing that I can tell you filmed in here. Kind of looks like an empty warehouse, right? It was used as an empty warehouse in the show Supergirl. She has a crossover with The Flash where they fight Livewire and Silver Banshee, and that's right in here.
Thanks, John. Wow, Hennesy Street really makes you feel like you're back in the roaring 20s, am I right? It's been so great to see you all, and thanks so much for tuning in.